Godfrey Bloom.
We got a lot. Godfrey Bloom's here. My goodness me!
Go, sir. In you go.
How good to see you, Godfrey.
Good to see you.
Welcome, please. Don't worry about the.
Don't worry about the cables.
Don't worry about the niceties.
Or the banana.
Good to see you, man. Have a seat.
Chair over there.
Yeah, sit down. We don't worry about what some people in media worry about, which is that surely to heavens you can't just have people walking in and sitting down. Well, why not?
Absolutely.
Why not? I mean, people don't care about that. They care about what you say. They love listening to you and watching you. So welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Nice to have you in the studio. And you're looking very summery, I must say.
Well, I'm modelling myself on Alec Guinness in Our Man in Havana.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got this one out. It's nice and light.
And what about the tie? Is that a particular...
That's an old regimental tie.
Regimental tie?
Graham Green.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought a bit summery. I didn't bring my Panama hat because I would lose it.
Yes.
I know I would lose it. Hats and umbrellas...
Yeah, do you know, I used to have the same view of sunglasses and lighters. I used to say, I'm never going to have an expensive pair of sunglasses or an expensive lighter because I'll leave it somewhere.
I know.
Right?
Although I'm getting worse.
Yeah. You're right, because I bought a Panama hat a few years back because I was doing some stuff in town and I thought, I'll wear a hat because it's sunny and it's, we were filming something. And I've no idea where it's gone. I can't find it anywhere.
This is our mystery.
Yeah. I mean, I've only got one. I haven't really got lots of hats. I've got a few caps that people bring in and stuff like that, but I don't know where it's gone. I don't know.
Well, I bought a straw boater from Locks about 20 years ago because I was a guest at Bumps Week in Cambridge, which was good. So I wanted something to sort of strut and pose in.
Yes.
By the river. And it was so expensive, I've never worn it since. It stays at home in a box. I don't dare lose that.
No.
It was over £200 20 years ago. So what it cost to replace it?
God knows, yeah. I like that scene in The Sting where I think it was all the people from the FBI at one point or other used to wear boaters to delineate themselves from everybody else.
G-men.
It's quite a good look. Anyway, listen, we've got a new government. You must be delighted.
Well, I was looking. I was looking at this very paper at my club this morning, and what was I overheard you talking about? They all went to sort of posh universities and private. They all read PPE, of course, which is nonsense. There's piss artists, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
On the piss. Right. And Cameron got a first in PPE, which shows how easy it must be.
It must be.
So the interesting thing, though, I picked up on is not just a university, it's the same old university, same old fake private school, which they try and hide. I don't know why they would do that, but they do that. But the fascinating thing about all this kind of thing is not one of them really has any commercial experience.
No.
They're not in the wealth-creating sector. So that the whole list that's in the Daily Mail today, not one of them has made their way in the wealth-creating sector.
Yeah.
So they, of course, therefore, subconsciously think that money grows on a tree.
They do, and they also think that investment involves taking my money and your money and giving it to somebody else.
Exactly.
That's what they call investment,
I know.
which is not quite what I had in mind.
And they don't know what they're doing.
No, and the problem is as well that I was looking at a slightly more detailed, and I think there's 3 people who have done something commercial, including Andy Burnham, who apparently worked for a publishing company for about 2 weeks after he finished his degree, until he decided to get into, being a special advisor to politicians. But this is the problem with the system, isn't it? I saw a guy was on Twitter the other day. He was apparently one of Keir Starmer's political advisors, and he said something like, normally we don't, we stay in the background, but I just want to say what a pleasure and an honour it's been working for good. And he was about 10. And you think, and I had a guy on a few weeks ago who was another political advisor, and I said, what do you think went wrong? And, they're all so young, and you just think, well, what have you done exactly? What do you know? What can you tell the Prime Minister of the day that he should be doing?
Exactly.
And they don't know anything.
And the balls haven't dropped, have they, really? No. Let's be frank.
No, they haven't. And they probably still haven't.
No, still haven't.
And meanwhile, they have to go off and find somebody else whose coattails to hang on to.
I don't know why anybody would listen to these people. It's like these people who did years ago in the Blair era. They had sort of lifestyle advice. Who needs a lifestyle advice? What does that mean?
Well, this is the thing that worries me about Burnham, is that for example, that he's got a fashion advisor. So that whenever he turns up dressed in whatever way he's dressed, he's taken advice on what he should be wearing. He can't dress himself, in other words.
It's sad. Do you remember in the days of, I think it was going back to that woman, I can't remember, she was an English Prime Minister, but British Prime Minister, can't remember her name now, it'll come to me in a minute. But they were telling them how to stand.
Theresa May, yeah. The power stand.
The power stand.
Yeah.
It all looked like they'd done a poo.
Yeah. Or they needed to change the trousers or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why would you?
George Osborne was caught doing that, wasn't he? He was standing there
Yeah.
with this kind of ridiculous look on his face. And again, nothing summed up. I think the great thing about politics for me is that there are things that happen to people which sum them up. And I never forget that conference speech that Theresa May made when the sign behind her started falling off the wall. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
And you just thought that sums up everything that never mind what she's saying, that sums up what's going on.
The real toe curler, wasn't it?
Yeah, the sign doesn't even want to stay on the wall. It's just it's that bad.
Yes,
it's literally
the signs board.
trying to leave the room. But I don't know why. The thing that I really detest, and we've been playing some clips today of the kind of fake enthusiasm, sort of the faux enthusiasm. One of my pet hates, Jonathan Reynolds, business secretary, gone back into the business department, and he went returning as some kind of conquering hero. He's obviously been watching Odyssey and thinks that I'll be some kind of Greek god. And he's a guy that pretended to be a solicitor for 10 years.
I know.
Told people lies for 10 years. I mean, that is very disturbing
50
behaviour.
years ago, that would have finished your political career.
Yeah.
They've just come back now.
But also, does it not also tell you something about a man who can't tell the truth? I mean, it's worse than, it wasn't just, he said once, I was a solicitor when I wasn't. He actually told people stories. Paul Johnson says he sat at a dinner with him one night and he regaled him with stories of his work as a solicitor and how much he loved doing it, which was clearly all a fantasy. It's quite worrying, that, isn't it?
It is rather, but then, they're all fantasists, aren't they?
Well, yeah. But
Boris was a very plausible
But it wasn't
fantasist.
always like that, was it? I mean, you've been around a long time, as I have.
There was there was a line.
Yeah.
And lying or doing certain things meant that your political career was finished.
And
now you just you hide for 6 months and back you come.
And do you think this kind of, fakery, if you like to call it that, began with Blair? Or because it seems that Major was quite dull, but he was relatively kind of, I suppose you might say, trustworthy as an individual. I mean, I know, notwithstanding his Edwina Curry episode, which showed rather bad judgment.
You see, if he cheats on his wife, he's going to cheat on the public, isn't he?
Well, I suppose so. But I think he was a more substantial politician than most of the ones we got now.
Oh, well,
wasn't he?
That's a very low bar, isn't it?
I know.
It's a low bar.
But when did it start, though? When did we get this kind of horrible, ghastly band of people who don't seem to be able to tell the truth about anything?
Was it Mencken who said that politics is show business for ugly people?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And they're certainly not getting any better looking.
No.
I mean,
they're all just quite dreadful, aren't they? And the sad thing is it puts other people off politics going into it, whereas I just wanted it because I wanted Brexit, so I went into the party. I've never been a member of a political party in my life, but I just wanted Brexit, so I joined UKIP, and that was it, got elected twice.
Yeah.
And that was that. But if you were a serious human being with any sort of moral dynamic, you wouldn't go into politics, would you?
No, I don't think you would. Unless you actually really genuinely felt like you wanted to help people. But I don't think any of these people do.
Well, they certainly don't, do they?
It's just for them. And people say, we need to pay them more because we don't attract the right numbers of people. I mean, there are plenty of people in the private sector who are no bloody good either. I wonder if it's a sort of a problem with the age. I mean, you look at all the water companies. There are about 5 water companies now saying there's drought conditions and we're going to have to have hosepipe bans. You've got one job. The water falls from the sky, collect it, send it to somebody's house, and then take it away.
And at the beginning of the year, it fell plenty, didn't it?
It did.
It fell plenty.
Yeah.
And now it was interesting, we've discussed this before, the lack of ability of mainstream legacy media. They're now blaming Maggie Thatcher for selling off water. Well, there was a golden share, as you will well know.
Yes.
I was in the city at the time, and we were buying, I was fixed interest in all equities, but that's neither here nor there. But it was quite interesting that there was a golden share, so it couldn't be sold abroad. The government had a stop button. Now they're blaming Maggie when we all know, everybody who's bothered to look into it knows that it was Tony Blair, yet again.
Yes.
A very sinister man, Tony Blair.
I think so. And his hand is definitely still hovering, is it not, over every single Labour activity?
It is, and he set it up so that civil servants don't work directly for the minister. A minister cannot sack his civil servants. Right. The whole thing really goes back to Blair in some depth.
It does. And Peter Hitchens always used to say that to me, that, if you consider what he did and what he set in train, like the Supreme Court, for example, we didn't really know when he did it what effect that would have on the country, but it's had a massive effect ever since it's been kind of utilised.
The problem, of course, we got, Mike, there is we have a dumbed-down educational system So it's very easy to steal things from people if they don't know they've got it. They don't know what their birthright is as far as the law is concerned, or the principles of English law.
Yeah.
They don't know that. So it's easy to nick it, isn't it?
Because nobody's told them what it is, because they don't learn anything about it.
No, that it's not covered. The principles of English law are not covered in school. They're just not covered.
No. And so you've ended up with a kind of, politicised civil service, obviously, politicised judiciary, obviously. I call them the lanyard class. They've all come out of the same kind of box.
Yeah.
They've gone to the same universities. They've probably all done PPE, as you say. They might have done law as well in order to be lawyers. But they all kind of think the same way. They're all slightly dismissive of anyone who wants Brexit. They're all slightly, they turn their noses up at anyone who might be against immigration. It's all kind of, this movement against reform at the moment, which is all driven by the Times and the BBC and Sky. These are all terrible people. We mustn't allow them to get into power. It's quite odious, really.
It is, and I don't understand. I think Nigel was ill-advised, actually, for not declaring it. But that's by the way. We'll have to see what comes out.
I think he probably knows that now.
Yeah, I think he probably does. But the real problem that we have is after they have been in office is the problem. So when Boris Johnson, in April 2022, made sure that the agreement in Istanbul, the peace agreement in the Ukraine, was actually torn up. There was signatures on it. It was a very generous offer. If you read that document today, you think, who wouldn't settle for that today? Right. Now, 1 million Ukrainian lives, we don't know about the Russian lives, but about 1 million Ukrainian casualties later. But Boris is a sociopath. He sleeps easy at night.
Yeah.
If you and I had done something like that, we'd be horror-struck.
Yeah.
And, of course, his relationship, which is what it was all about, with the industrial military complex, of course, and we know that he got about £1 million for the drone deal.
Yeah.
That was a backhander. And there's all this money floating about. And then we look at George Osborne, BlackRock.
Yeah.
He finished being a Chancellor for some years. He was Chancellor of the Exchequer. And then he went to BlackRock on £500,000 a year. Don't tell me he didn't pull some kind of stunt to get that. The payoff.
But this again is how, rich politicians seem to now be able to become. Because in the old days, John Major was probably never short of a few bob, but he didn't come across as a multi-millionaire billionaire, whereas Tony Blair has got the Blair Foundation.
Tony Blair's one of the richest men now in the world.
Yes.
In the world.
Right.
And so is his son.
Yes. Well, I don't mind his son making money from an innovation that he came up with, as long as that's what happens.
But the contracts.
Yeah.
Who gets the contract? You come up with an innovation, but how do you get the contracts?
Right.
So the whole thing is relatively humble stock, Tony Blair. When he was young.
He was a middle class kid.
Just an ordinary middle class chap, wasn't he?
Right.
So how can you when you haven't been in Congress?
But is that because we're becoming more like the Americans, where if you get to be a senator in the U.S. Senate in Washington D.C., they all become multimillionaires as a result of the kind of pork barrel money that floats around in D.C.
I've been to Washington any number of times when I was in office, any number of times. And you can see the houses and the swimming pools and all that kind of thing in places like Arlington. Yeah. It's grown like Topsy. And these fellows, they were dirt poor. They come from the backwoods of Idaho, growing potatoes, a congressman, and suddenly they're multi-millionaires. And that is the industrial military complex, of course, of which Eisenhower warned us in 1960. He said this would happen, and it's happened. Yeah. And you're dead right, it's going that way here.
But it is happening here as well, because again, you hear, for example, during the midst of all of the attacks on reform and the donations they were getting from various different people, not just from Harborne but others, there was something like 20 Labour Party donors who gave money, small amounts of money. Microsoft, Bill Gates, Apple gave about 30,000 here, 40,000 there, 50,000 here. Now there's 138 million pounds worth of contracts going to all of those same 20 donors.
Yes,
and it's out of all proportion. It's like if I gave you £1 to get from here to Waterloo, and then you go into government, and the next thing you're giving me 100,000 quid back for the pound. That's kind of the leverage we're talking about.
No legacy media interest at all.
They don't do it. They don't care. They're not interested. If it wasn't for Twitter, I wouldn't know about any of this stuff.
No.
Because my problem with the now legacy media, the Times, for example, is now literally an apologist for a Labour government. Every single front page story they run is literally a press release from Downing Street.
Exactly.
There's no
Downing Street,
critical
and not just
thought.
Downing Street, of course, CIA, and all the rest of them, MI6. Mm-hmm. It all comes.
And Miliband's in charge of that now.
I know.
Although I was talking to somebody the other day who said they won't tell him anything. They won't give him any kind of ability to know what's going on.
At
Do
least
you believe that?
I saw something, I can't remember which paper, maybe it does reinforce the British sense of humour, making him foreign secretary.
It does, yeah. But as I was saying, just as you came in, apparently his first trip is to the Philippines. Don't know why he's going there. Maybe he hasn't been there. I mean, what are the Philippines going to do for us?
Lord only knows.
I mean, people go to the Philippines to find wives, as far as I'm aware. I don't wish to cast any aspersions on the Filipinos, but I don't know what else you go to the Philippines
No,
for.
I'm struggling with that too,
Yeah.
really.
I mean, it's not...
Your first port of call?
It's not the first place you'd think of going to do business, for example.
Not really.
Is it?
No. I mean, I've been in business all my life,
Yeah.
and I've been all over the world, but not the Philippines.
Not the Philippines.
No.
Funny
I'm not anti-Filipino or anything like that. But
No, me
you
neither.
just don't go there.
No, me neither. It's just that, he's supposedly now the Secretary of State for the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Maybe you should try going to a Commonwealth country?
Well, that would be a start.
Maybe.
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
He's probably against that.
Well, yeah, the trouble is if he goes to a Commonwealth country, all he can do is upset them, and we don't want to really upset Commonwealth country. He can't really upset anybody in the Philippines, can he? Because nobody gives a shit.
I'm looking forward to him going to Washington and getting torn off a strip by Trump, because Trump apparently is not very happy about some of the things he's previously said about him. But of course they all have. Andy Burnham's the same.
I know.
They've all slagged him off.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So what do you think is going to happen? Because the question for me and for a lot of people is, is he going to be here in a year's time? Is there going to be an early election? What do you think?
Well, there's a couple of points. Firstly, one of the most popular opposition parties, of course, is Reform.
Yeah.
But they are nowhere near ready for a general election. They don't have a shadow from. And Nigel and I used to argue about this when we were in UKIP years, when we went into the 2015 election. I said, Nigel, if you're going into a general election, it's not like a European election.
Right.
It's a different system. It's a different thing completely. What you have to do is you have to get a team and line up your team. And then you present a spokesman on the NHS, a defence spokesman, and they have to have, provenance. They need some kind of provenance. And we had people in UKIP. We had recently retired submarine commanders to talk about the Royal Navy, and we had a surgeon, a very articulate young surgeon of about 40 years old who could have been NHS. I couldn't persuade him to do any of that. He's not a team man, you see. This is the problem. You've got to have a team. It's a one-issue thing, that's okay. Yeah. It's one issue. But the general election will come and they'll say, what's the team?
Yes.
And if you can't present a viable team, that is a problem.
Yeah.
And the other problem we've got, and I go put my sort of old...
Has he got sort of half a team? Is he on the way to getting a team?
Not that I can see.
Yeah.
I mean, he was mooting Tice for Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Yeah.
Oh dear, oh dear. But I mean, you have to have a reasonable team. And what the problem, the election won't become... I don't think the election will come at the behest of the government. I used to manage fixed interest in the city, amongst other things, for pension funds. Now, the government does not raise, amazingly enough, you think they would, enough money for their spending plans through taxation.
Right.
It just isn't. It can't happen.
No.
The wealth-creating sector isn't big enough to pay
and
for
they keep
this.
repeating this mantra that we are going to stick to the fiscal rules. I don't think they know what they're talking
No,
about.
socialist government never has. The last government didn't.
No.
Highest taxed, highest spending government, the Conservatives. So nobody there had a clue.
Yeah.
Now, so how do they do it? If they don't tax, they've got two options then. Quantitative easing, which is counterfeiting and printing, of course, by any other name. And they have to get their loans away. They have to get people to buy our debt. America's in the same place.
Right.
So in order to get gilts away, to get those, and I used to manage these things, you have to have a coupon, which is a net gain.
Right.
So if you agree that inflation is 5%, which I would argue it is 5%.
Some would say it's higher than that. If you talk about
if you agreed at 5%, if you agreed at 5%, you have to have a gilt coupon of at least 6%. Otherwise, why would you buy it? Because you're guaranteed to lose money. So when the world looks at these Muppets, they'll go, I'm not buying debt. They're not buying dollar debt. They're not buying T-bills.
Right.
They're only buying short,
Right.
one-year T-bills. But they're not buying long bonds and all this kind of thing. So they won't
so
be
that
able
tells you they're not confident about the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this tells you all you need to know. They won't be able to do it. And then you'll be going back to around about the sort of thing that I was in the city then in 1974, 73, 74. When the IMF had to step in. I think we had this conversation before.
Yes.
That can't be done now. No. Technically speaking,
there's not enough money in the world.
There's not enough money. So the only way they can do it is to cut spending. Now, we haven't had a single general election since the 80s where any political party has said we're going to cut public spending. Not one. None of them have done it. It's all about we will spend more on this, more of this. Where's the money coming from? And they will say, oh, growth. Well, there isn't any growth.
Right.
There isn't any growth. So they can't do that. So it doesn't matter whether it's Mike Graham or Godfrey Bloom or a small business or a medium-sized business or a big business. If you go on and on spending more money than you're bringing in revenue, you can get away with it for a year or two.
Yeah.
You can't do it ad infinitum because you will go bankrupt.
Right.
And bankrupt we will be, and then they will print money, then you'll have hyperinflation, and we'll go back just where we were in the 70s, or Germany was in the 1920s.
And then that's when you need to have an election, presumably.
Yes, because it's collapsed.
Yeah. And
It's
that's what I
collapsed.
think. See, I've thought that for quite a long time. And I think you're the first person that said that you think that's going to happen as well. Because other people go, well, why would Andy Burnham have an election? Why would he put his backbenchers through the possibility of losing their jobs when they don't want to do that?
Exactly.
And they may not volunteer for it. But it may, as I've
It won't be
said,
his choice.
as you've just said, it will be taken out of his hands.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound good.
Doesn't sound good, does it?
And meanwhile, if you've got anything, they'll just tax the hell out of it until you literally haven't got anything left.
I have taken everything off the table.
Yeah.
And I've seen this coming in the last 20 years. My net worth is virtually zero. Zero. I've just taken it. You can't see it, can't find it. I've spread it around the family.
Yeah.
It's elsewhere.
Yeah.
Quite legitimate, incidentally.
Yeah.
I'm not cheating or anything like that because I don't want to go down that route. But it's quite just take it off the table. Your money in a bank. Look at the ISA. They're stealing ISAs. They want to tax ISAs.
Yeah.
The whole point of an ISA was that you didn't pay tax on it.
Yeah.
And it's pitiful. At 4% for the average ISA or something like that. You're still losing money.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, all you're getting is £1,000 if you put in 20 or something, right? So
That's right.
You're not going to get rich doing it.
No. And the other thing is, I always get the trouble is, and I got to go back to legacy media again. There is, I think I've mentioned this to you before. There aren't enough. Alistair Heath and Liam Halligan are the only people who could seriously interview Chancellors of the Exchequer. And of course, they're persona non grata with these Channel 4 and BBC and all this, because they ask the questions that need to be asked.
Yes.
But they're not allowed on, are they?
No, of course.
So you get a sort of an airhead bimbo like that. What's that? The Emily Maitresses or this, well, that other blonde lady got
Emily
dumped.
Mattress.
Yeah. No mates.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't know how to interview the Chancellor.
No.
They
don't know how to
this has been going
interview
for
anyone.
years. This is going on for years.
I mean, I was listening to, I always apologise for even saying it, 5 Live on the way in this morning, and had this woman talking to a bunch of people, including, what was his name, Lord Boateng. You might remember Paul Boateng, who was there singing the praises of John Healey and saying, this is a man who's been in the Treasury many times and was working with Gordon Brown. And I'm thinking, well, that's not exactly an endorsement. And they don't say anything. They just go, oh. And so I think her final comment at the end of the interview with a bunch of other people talking about the economy was, so she goes, so it's good news then? And I'm going, sorry? What do you mean it's good news? Nothing of what I've just heard anyone say is good news at all.
Probably read PPE.
Probably, yeah. It's probably a diversity hire as well of some kind.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Anyway, it's all going to hell in a handcart, ladies and gentlemen, as Godfrey has predicted, as I've predicted. And don't be surprised when it happens, is all I can say. But we'll be here to chronicle it for you and to keep you aware of what escape routes there may be, should you need them. Godfrey, great to see you. Thank you very much indeed. We've missed lunch again. I know we're going to do it eventually.
I know, it's sitting there, and you said, I got feels
well, it was
very disappointed you're going to a gym instead of a lunch.
Well, yes, I know.
What kind
it's
of chap
shocking.
are you?
Well, that's the reason I'm still alive. I mean, because if I just if I just went to lunch all the time, I'd be dead. I do lunches generally on a Tuesday and a Thursday.
Oh,
so
right.
if you try and come in next time on a Tuesday or a Thursday, that might work better.
Well, we'll get that.
We'll try and get
we'll
that organised.
get that later on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is Ellie Hodges here?
Yeah, Ellie's here.
Ellie's here.